Welcome to another edition of the Phil Taylor Jones Show. As always, we are more than happy to have you with us. Today's journey is going to be about none other than our wonderful, hypocritic, speak to the moment when it only suits you, President Obastard. We're referring to a tragic jihadist terrorist attack on a police officer that happened this past Thursday, and we're going to jump into that right now. I'm Phil Taylor Jones, your host, and yes, the hypocritical Obastard strikes again. Now, I'm not a big fan of Megyn Kelly of Fox News, but every now and again, I guess any kind of news whore can hit a poignant fact that really brings a lot of what needs to be discussed to the forefront. After this police officer, Jesse Hartnett, was ambushed and attacked by this jihadist, this person that pledges allegiance to Islam or ISIS or Allah or whichever, all three of them, ambushes this officer. She then asked the White House, Obastard, what were his thoughts? What were his comments? What were his feelings? To that he said, no comment. I'd like to now bring in the exec with his informational on that. Mr. Executive Producer.
Well, thank you. And as you mentioned, he's been shot multiple times, more than 11 times. We had reports of 17, 13, and 11, which is utterly ridiculous. And as you said, she asked and said no comment. Now, while she was speaking with Fox News contributor Charles Carruthhammer, the implications of the White House's silence, he had this to say. With any other administration, we would be astonished, but this administration we're not, Carruthhammer said, because they simply refuse. And it's not becoming ridiculous, it is becoming tiresome. Look, this was a jihadi attack, a terror attack within the United States, and you get no statement from the White House about this? All Megyn Kelly had to say to the president was, I'm not exactly sure that's how she said it, but it says she replied that way. Now, as far as different reactions from people, there's a commenter or a reader of Fox News named Blue Sky who said, no comment. Can't muster a word on behalf of an ambushed and injured officer? They can't even bring themselves to say a simple, we are keeping Officer Hartnett in our thoughts and prayers as he recovers. And there was one more commenter that had something quite poignant to say. So give me a moment as I find it. Credit goes to Brian T. Roller, a transportation specialist at R. Mondragon. He says the Obama administration is pro-Islam, pro-Muslim, and pro-Sharia law. Obama is anti-Israel, anti-Christian, anti-Buddhist, anti-Catholic, and anti-Hindu. I'll add this part that he didn't say. Is there anything that he isn't anti? He continues with, Muslims or Islam is the only violent and narrow-minded religion in the world, which I agree with. He goes further on to say, some Asian nations have banned Muslims from their country and their way of life, China and Japan included. Do we see bombings in those countries? No. And with good reason. If they're not there, they've been banned, how can they hurt people? And that's what's crazy, that he's allowing all these people over here, and he wants more to come here and everything. And on another note, he also invited a Syrian refugee into his speeches coming up soon. And that's my shot right there.
Thank you for those facts. This just further goes to show how this man should have never, ever been elected president. He is obviously a card-carrying Muzzy supporter that feigns Christianity and is ready to do or not do certain things as it suits him. Now, let's just go back to this debacle that he did the other night, crying supposedly because of you know, the poor little first graders that got shot. And oh, that was done with a gun. It seems like if something is done with a gun in a mass way, he comes in and he spews his rhetoric. Now, we basically know he has no respect for our military. He has no respect for our law enforcement either. Because here is a police officer sitting in his car, probably doing some kind of police reporting or maybe surveillance or something, Officer Hartnett. And this bastard comes up and he ambushes him and shoots him multiple times, or shoots at him multiple times. It's a wonder the man even made it out alive. Thank goodness for that. I know his family is very happy about that, and so are we here at the Phil Taylor Jones Show. Because he possibly was one of those good officers that we talk about, the ones that are out there to protect and serve, and to have some hapless bastard come up on him and try to kill him in cold blood is ridiculous. And then to not have the president come in and weigh in on it because he's a Muzzy supporter is ludicrous. Now, this guy used a gun. Why didn't Obastard come on and weigh in on this? Because it had to do with a Muslim/Islam member. So I guess it's okay now if a Muslim uses a gun to perpetrate a crime, but if anybody else does it, he comes on and he, really gives them a tongue lashing, or he cries about it. Hypocrite is what this man is. Pure and simple hypocrite. And speaking of hypocrisy, which seems to run rampant and deeply within the Democratic community, let me just say that this Mayor Jim Kinney, where the officer was ambushed, had to say, "Oh, well, this wasn't an Islamic attack." Okay, you got this Muzzy with all his beard and all of his headdress and all this. He says that he did this out of allegiance to ISIS. He follows the Islamic doctrines. He's Islamic up to his proverbial butt. I find it very strange that this Democratic, what's his name, Jim Kinney, would not recognize this for anything except what it is an Islamic attack, a jihadist attack on an American citizen on American soil. But he's a Democrat like Obastard is a Democrat, so they stick together like so much clumped rice. It's ridiculous. This man should have never been president, and he needs to go. As the exec brought up, he's so into Muzzies, it's not even funny. Inviting a refugee to his State of the Union address. Now, this in and of itself is, I guess it's okay, to invite people to your address, but, it's just so blatant the way that he operates, and the way that he operates in favor of his Muzzies, his contingent. It's obvious that the man is in there and has been in there with an agenda. Speaking of which, the exec was on the website browsing, as he usually does, and he came across something that was very, very, very interesting and very profound when thinking about Obastard. And what more could it be than 20 quotes by Barack insane Obastard about Islam and Muhammad. Now, I'm not going to go through all 20 of them because, we want to cover a couple more things on the show before we end it. But, I'll bring out the ones that are highlighted in red because they're the most disgusting and the most telling. Number 2 of the 20 is, the sweetest sound I know is the Muslim call to prayer. What's so sweet about that? And I know there's something sweet about looking at it. Who wants to look at a bunch of people with their butts up in the air? I mean, what is this, NASA? Looking at all those moons? I mean, come on. Number 6 out of the 20 is Islam has always been a part of America. Okay, well, I don't profess to be, a young kid. I've seen and heard the wind blow a lot of days, but I really don't remember Islam as being a part of my growing up. I was born in the 50s, late 50s, 58. So, do the math, I'm 57 years old. I got it right that time because for some reason, folks, I've added 10 years to my life. But I'm 57 years old, and I grew up there in Detroit, and I grew up partially in Toledo, and then I finished up my growing up, and still growing, I guess, here in California. But until here of late, until Obastard took office, I knew Islam existed. Because there was a movement and still is a movement here, and Louis Farrakhan is the leader of that group of Islam, and they would sell the little bean pies in their newspaper and what have you. So I knew of that, but it wasn't so much of a big thing that it infiltrated everybody's life. So I think he's wrong on that score. In fact, I know he's wrong. Anything about Obastard is wrong except about him not doing right. Let's go on to number 10 of the 20. It says, I made clear that America is not and never will be at war with Islam. Well, I beg to differ. America will be and always be at war with anybody who is trying to be at war with us. Coming to our country, trying to dictate policy, trying to make us change our ways and bow to their will probably constitutes a war. And if you believe that, then you're a bigger idiot than I ever thought you were. Let's go to number 10. I also know that Islam has always been a part of the American story. Have you been smoking the crack? I know you did marijuana, but I think you're doing methamphetamines or crack or something, or have been cracked over the head. This man is insane. It shouldn't be Hussein, as we all have thought. It should be insane, because that's what he is. And then he also said, if I can find this part, this was the most ridiculous part. Oh, okay. This was taken by Obastard about Christianity in the Bible. Whatever we once were, we are no longer a Christian nation. We do not consider ourselves a Christian nation. Oh, okay. You take out a dollar bill, and I think somewhere on that piece of money or a coin, it says, in who do we trust? God? Isn't that Christianity? Christians believe in God? This man, just on that score alone, he needs to go. Whether you want him to go to a prison or a nut house or a combination of the two, he needs to be there. Christianity has always been a part of the United States and always will be. Sure, while we recognize other nations and their Christianity, or other peoples and their Christianity, the United States is a Christian nation. And if you don't believe that, then you need to go and stick your head in the toilet and flush it 59 times. Oh, bastard. And the last one, he was asked about what the definition of sin was, to which he said, being out of alignment with my values, not the values of Christianity, not the values of the United States, or what the values of the doctrines of Christianity have taught us, with his values. Okay, based upon what you've been saying, pal, your values must be that of the Muslim/Islamic religion, because that's who you support. This man is a danger. He is the biggest danger to the United States, and he needs to be gone now, in prison or in the nut house or a combination of the two. But I find it very hypocritical and very appalling that we have a police officer, a law enforcement officer, ambushed and fired upon multiple times. As few as 10, as many as 13. The numbers are still fuzzy on that, but we know it was multiple times. The man barely got out with his life. Thank goodness he was able to shoot the bastard and stop this madness, this mayhem. And it's not over yet. How far was it between Paris to San Bernardino to this attack? Just a few weeks between all of them. And yet, they're still beating on the tom-toms in all countries. I was just looking at this New Year's thing in Germany. Angela Merkel has now, again, come under fire. And it's given more fuel to the fire of those people over in Germany who are against these infiltrators of the nation. When will they ever learn? You know, there's going to be problems no matter where they are, because they are a problematic people. Again, if you just look at the regular Islam/Muslims, they've got problems. They've got baggage. They're from war-torn countries where they'll just as soon kill you as you look at you. They've got baggage. They've got problems. They've got crap in their minds that I wouldn't even want to take to the Twilight Zone. That's just a regular run-of-the-mill Islamic Muzzies. Then you put in these extremists, these fanatics, these terrorists, and then you really got problems. Problems that are being brought to every shore that welcomes them in. Now, I know I may sound like a heartless bastard when I say this, but this is the way I feel. When it comes to foreigners, I don't worry about them. I really don't. I worry not. You hear this stuff on TV about, oh, this foreigner got this group over here and that group over there, some died on the way, and then it doesn't bother me. Why? Because I know that foreigners are going to get theirs and yours and mine and his and hers and everybody else. They're going to get theirs. They're just like cats. They always land on their feet. They're the only group of people, I don't care where they come from. They can come from Syria, anywhere on this globe that foreigners can come from. They can fall in the toilet and come out smelling like a rose. I have never seen such a bunch of folks that seem to have guardian angels around their butts. So I don't worry about them. I've known some here in the neighborhood I live in. They get in a car wreck, the car is totaled, they come up with a brand new one. They get their house burned down, or they burn it down themselves around Christmas time. And the police officers, the fire department, and people are so, worried about them. They give new house or another house and all kinds of toys and trees and things for the kids. So, I don't worry about foreigners because I know they're going to get theirs. They're going to be all right. So am I worried about these refugees? No. The only thing I'm worried about is that they're coming here and they're causing trouble for American people, innocent American people that have no stake in this crap that Obastard is inflicting upon this nation. This guy needs to be gone, and I will be so glad when he is. Before we close out the show, I'd like to check and see if the exec has something else to add.
Well, there's something not really in the veins of Obama, but in the vein of Muzzy things going on. I thought it might be interesting to mention what happened at one of the Donald Trump rallies. The person that was thrown out was a Muslim, and to me, her attire and her demeanor and what she said and did was a little too convenient in the form of trying to make it seem like Muslims are peaceful people and what is wrong with people, why is there Islamophobia. And she was wearing a hijab, the one that doesn't cover everything but the eyes, the one that shows the face. And her shirt says, "Salam, I come in peace." She said, around getting thrown out. Before she got thrown out, I didn't get a bad vibe from anyone. The people I made personal contact with were very pleasant. They were lovely people. My intention was to stand up when he said something that was offensive. It sounds like a standard Muzzy cop-out. Not just for Muslims, but for anyone. So they're trying to help everybody now. They started chanting Trump, 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 because he told his people to alert him to anybody that might be interrupting his speech. He saw her and threw her out. And on her way leaving, there was a guy saying, "Do you have a bomb? Do you have a bomb?" This is an older man, and she replied, "No, do you have a bomb?" In my opinion on that, what kind of stupid statement is that? Americans are not known for bombing themselves, even though there has been possibly some kind of incidents like that. Muzzies are the ones known for that. So why the hell would an American bring a bomb? You're the one known for it, not the other way around. That's backwards. And then another backwards thing as well. She said, after being escorted, "I was glad that nobody got physical and did anything scary." That's what Muzzies are known for. People can sometimes get crazy and pushy and stuff and everything. This is true. I'm not going to deny that. But the Muzzies are the ones known for doing something scary and physical. And it seemed a little bit too convenient for me that she's trying to be, like I said, non-Islamophobia message spreading and wearing a shirt that says, "Salam, I come in peace," and everything. If she wasn't a plant, that's fine. If she was, I'm sure she was possibly, but I thought that bared mentioning since the focus was on Muslim affairs and everything.
Very true, and thank you again for that. Yeah, I kind of have to echo what you're feeling because this Islamophobia, I mean, they come up with these stupid little cutesy terms that, in my opinion, shouldn't even be there. Why is there this phobia or this concern about a certain people being within your presence, within your country? Once again, most everything that you've heard that's in the Muzzy vein has been disastrous. From the taking down of the World Trade Center in 2001 to all of their exploits since then. It's something horrible. It's something which there's been multiple loss of life. There has been mass destruction. There has been people that have been terrified. There has been hurt, harm, and mayhem, all at the hands of these extremists, all at the hands of these people with these religious ideologies and fanaticisms. So why, in the name of common judgment, wouldn't you be apprehensive and in some cases scared of these people? If they have been here, and I'm pretty sure they have been, what good things have come to the forefront that are burned and etched into the minds of the American people? Oh, well, the Muslims, they did this, and because of it, we have prospered as a people. Oh, they built this city of brotherly love, and people have gone there, and they've prospered, and they live well, and they've helped the economy in this way, or they've implemented this kind of medication or something, grand, on a grand scale. I can't remember anything like that. And I know that as crazy as these news whores are, if they had done something like that, we'd know about it. But everything that's attributed to them has been of a heinous and horrible nature. So that's why people, don't embrace them, and do the little, "I love you," because, you may be saying you love you to them. They pull out a bomb and blow you up with it. That's what they do. So it just brings to mind that we are living in terrible times. And as I keep saying, I can't help it. Who speaks for us? Who is there for us? Certainly not these political muckety-mucks, because they've proven it time and time again, that they are knowing something is wrong, just like our great-grandfather used to say, "You know better, you just don't give a damn." They know this is wrong. They know that these people should have been left to their own devices over there in their own country. But yet, they want to bring them over here. But now the poor Hispanic people, they got to be thrown out of the country. And they're here under the same framework as refugees. So what makes the Hispanic refugees not so important as the Syrian or Iranian or Iraqi refugees? Why? Because we've got a card-carrying Muzzy supporter in the White House that wants them here. He's used the Hispanics for what he needed, and that was to get his scroungy butt back in the office. So yeah, he doesn't need them anymore. So you can go back to Colombia or wherever they were persecuting you, El Salvador, Guatemala, wherever. You can go back and get persecuted, knowing that if they go back to these countries, they're probably going to get killed, because the people that were torturing and persecuting them in the first place knew they left. So they're going back to certain death. But oh no, the Muzzies over here, they're getting goodie bags, and they're getting pats on the wrist and being led into wonderful homes or into wonderful communities. This is wrong on more levels than I can even think of. Now, innocent people are getting killed, even our law enforcement officers, and he says nothing. This is bad, folks. And we better wake up to what's going on with our political society, because if we don't, we're going to cease to exist as a country. We know what this man has done for the soon-to-be, this is his 8th year. So the 7 years prior, we know what he's done. He's run up a deficit that we can't catch up with. We're not going to catch up with this. It's out of control. We've come up with jobless rates. Now, they're bragging about the job market and how almost 300,000 jobs were created over the course of October, November, and December. Oh, and what praise he's getting. And I know he's going to get on there and lie his ass off Tuesday night about what he's done about raising jobs. But if you look at this picture, people, you will know that he is full of crap, as a Christmas turkey is full of dressing, because here's the way it rubs. During the months of October, November, and December, it's leading up to what? Christmas. They take on extra help so that they can facilitate moving merchandise, stocking merchandise, selling merchandise. And when January rolls around, Pink Slip City, see you, wouldn't want to be you. So naturally the job rate went up.
That's why it's called seasonal.
Okay? Seasonal jobs. So, I mean, what has he done? We're almost back in a recession. Because of China? Possibly, but because of our businesses leaving, our job markets freezing up, because of taxation and all of this crapola about money and greed. And it's basically under him. So, like I said before, we can't seem to do much because these people are put in there into these offices because of the money that is behind them. Lobbyists, special interest groups, power brokers, crooks, in essence. And that's who fills these presidential shoes. So, as much as we can do, we need to do it. We need to find out whether there's some kind of proclivity to crookedness with these people. Do the hard work, do the homework, do the investigation, and find out exactly who the hell we're putting in there. And please, those of you who might be thinking slithery Clinton, even if you are Democrats, at least think of somebody else besides her, the woman's a known crook.
Obastard doesn't support her anymore.
No, anybody with a half a brain wouldn't support a bag of crap like that. So people, we gotta be ever vigilant about what we're doing, because we're sending crackpots to office and we're suffering for it. Believe me, suffering. Refugees have about much business, especially those, of being in this country, as me going up to the top of the Empire State Building and jumping off, expecting to land perfectly safe without the use of a jetpack or a parachute or what have you. It doesn't make any sense. And people are dying because of it. So we just wanted to jump in there and bring you that. I guess the exec has something else to say.
I was just curious, going back to the article on the 20 things he said, it was the very first one mentioned. Because I think it's very profound as far as how his Muzzy support goes. And it's, if you did mention it, good, and if you didn't, it bears mentioning a second time.
All right, the future must not belong to those who slander the Prophet of Islam.
It's a very strong statement, and if it was mentioned already, I think it bears mentioning a second time to take out the show.
Yeah, this is true, and that's where his loyalties lie. That's where his allegiance is, and that's where his heart is. So people like that shouldn't be elected to American office. He should have been elected the prime minister of Syria or Iran or somewhere that believes in that stuff. You know, we need American people to respect American values and principles. We can recognize other people's views and opinions, but they should never supersede our own opinions, our own laws, our own values, our own principles. And on that score, we will say, take care and stay safe, and join us once more for another edition of the Phil Taylor Jones Show. Bye-bye.